Greetings, friends. I'm AK,
And I'm Laura,
and we are
the Chainsaw Girls. Okay, we're getting so close to Halloween.
Yes.
It's our favorite month of the year.
Spooky season.
We love it. It's spooky season all year round, I feel, for us. However, there's just something about October. It's just the best.
So it was the best choice for us to choose when we would have our first live event, which is our first live screening. It's going to be happening in Buffalo, New York, October 20th. We are going to be doing a live watch along of The Lost Boys.
I'm so excited. Tickets are on sale now. It's being held at the Screening Room, which is this very cute, small theater. It's very intimate. I believe it holds 60. And we're going to be hanging out all night. We're going to watch the movie. We're going to do a Q&A. We're going to talk about the movie after it's done and just like have a big hang session.
Come hang out with us.
I'm so excited. The link to tickets will be in the show notes and also on all our social media. There are links to it. On today's episode, we feel like we are getting closer and closer to spooky season.
Yes.
We've started to cover more Halloween-esque movies. And today, we're sticking with that trend. And we are covering the 1981 Halloween movie, Hell Night.
Hell Night, which is starring Linda Blair.
So I was introduced to Hell Night by my friend Micah. He came to visit us a couple of, I want to say spooky seasons ago. I think it was during maybe the fall. And he was like, have you ever seen Hell Night? I'm like, no. He's like, it takes place on Halloween. I'm like, perfect, sign us up. I immediately loved this movie.
Yeah, I'm shocked that I'd never even heard of it.
Hell Night is currently streaming on, I believe, Tubi
And Peacock. Amongst others.
Yeah, I'm sure. If you look it up, you'll find it. Let's do the IMDb.
Yes.
Okay. 4 college fraternity and sorority pledges spend the night in a deserted old mansion as part of a hazing ritual during Hell Night, where they are stalked by the only survivor of a family massacre from the mansion's sordid past. This movie was directed by Tom DeSimone. He directed a couple episodes of Freddy's Nightmares, I should say. It was written by Randy Feldman, who I believe wrote Tango and Cash. It's starring Linda Blair. She's so stinking cute in this movie.
She really is. She's adorable.
I love her. Okay, she's amazing. Vincent Von Patten plays a character named Seth, who I cannot wait to dive into. Okay, I'm not going to go through the whole cast. Let's just start rolling with this.
Let's do it.
This movie had a budget of $1.4 million, and it grossed $2.3 million. So not terrible.
I mean, I don't know what is considered a great turnout, but to me, if they make a profit, I'm like, oh, great, perfect.
I totally agree. And considering that this movie came out around the same time as American Werewolf in London,
Okay.
which is one of my favorite werewolf movies. I love that movie. It's amazing. We have to cover it. And Student Bodies.
Oh.
Yes. And I believe The Prowler came out around that time. I don't know if it was the same month, but,
Okay.
and those are all, great movies that they were contending with when this came
Right.
out. Now, whether or not those did well during the time, I don't know. I didn't research that, but I thought it was interesting. And a couple little tidbits for you that I think is kind of fun. Shooting took 40 days, which is pretty long for a movie. And it actually stretched into Thanksgiving. The original budget was $1 million, but because the shooting went so long, they had to add another $400,000.
Oh.
Thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. You know someone was pissed.
Oh my God, yes. The investors are like, what? How dare you? And then I just wanted to talk really quickly about Linda Blair before we start rolling with the movie. Linda Blair is a very big animal rights activist. She actually has her own non-for-profit called World Heart Foundation. And I just wanted to read the mission because I'm going to link it in the show notes so that if you wanted to check it out and support it, you totally can. But it just made my heart swell, okay? So the World Heart Foundation's mission, LBWF is an animal and human welfare organization. Our mission is to alleviate suffering while rescuing, rehabilitating, and rehoming abused, neglected, and abandoned animals. We aid in crisis situations while educating, encouraging, and empowering the public to make a difference in the lives of those whom have no voice. I actually teared up when I read the mission statement because I just love that. And I know that she does a lot of conventions and she raises a lot of money for animals.
I saw that you wrote in your notes that she's a vegan.
She's a vegan. Yeah. She's a fellow veg. We love that. All right, so let's dive into the movie, shall we?
Let's do it.
This movie takes place on Hell Night, which is, I imagine this movie's equivalent to Hell Week, which is the week in which sororities and fraternities initiate in new pledges.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question for you as a Canadian to an American. Would you say that fraternities and sororities are like a big part of American culture?
I would say so, even though I've never been a part of one, but it definitely seems that way with people that I've known over the years talking about it, friends, family. Yeah, I think so. It's a real thing. It's not just in the movies.
I honestly, as a kid growing up, seeing like people talk about frat parties, I honestly thought it was make-believe. Just like I thought that like grades in high school, you guys call them like sophomore, junior. I never understood what that meant.
Oh, yeah.
Because in Canada, it's like grade 9, grade 10, grade 12. Like we're not.
We say 9th grade, 10th grade, and you say grade 9,
grade
9.
10. Yeah. So anyway, I was always interested. Like I never really believed that frat parties were a real thing.
No, it's real. I'm sure, I mean, I can't even say things are exaggerated because all of them I'm sure are different. But similar to how when I watch a movie and there's like a house party and it's some rich kid's house and you just look at that and you're like, I've never been to a house party that looks like that.
Never.
But I'm sure they exist.
Right. I've never been to one, nor had I ever been invited to one.
No, me neither.
No.
But also, nor did anyone go to my school that had that much money.
Agreed. Same. Yeah, me too. Okay, so we are introduced to the Alpha Sigma Rho frat slash sorority party, and basically these newcomers are being initiated and hazed into these sororities. I don't understand why anyone would want to be part of something like this. I don't understand why anyone would want to share a house with like a million other people. I don't really get the appeal.
No, I don't either. I think it's like a status thing, really.
Yeah, maybe it helps. I don't know. Does it help your education? I don't know the point of it.
It's supposed to be like a sisterhood or a brotherhood.
No, there's no way that's real.
But I don't know.
A sisterhood? There's no way.
We know that. I mean, wrestling locker rooms are also supposed to be a sisterhood or a brotherhood, and we know how that goes. So I imagine it's something similar. Where I'm sure sometimes it's really great, and then sometimes it's really bad.
No, so true, because we've been in locker rooms where both are true. Right.
Yeah. So we have 4 pledges that are being initiated. One of them is Marty, who is Linda Blair.
We love her.
And then Jeff, Seth, and Denise. So 4 of them have to stay in this manor overnight.
Yes. So Peter is our leader of the group. I don't know. Is he like a fraternity father? I don't know what the terminology is.
Fraternity father?
Because there's like mothers, right?
I don't know because I've never been a house.
Okay,
I'm thinking of house bunny. I'm like a house mother. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
like
no, I think it is.
But I don't actually know. When you said fraternity father, I'm thinking of founding father, which they were kind of dressed like in this movie. I had to keep reminding myself this takes place on Halloween.
On Halloween, right?
That's why she is dressed like a pilgrim.
She does kind of look a little pilgrim,
but she looks adorable.
She's so cute and she's so young and just adorable in it. You're so right. So Peter's dressed as like, I don't know, a wizard. He's got like a purple cape on and he's sort of the leader and he is explaining to them. They're kind of at this big party. They're having a good time. Everybody's partying. Everybody's dressed up. Everyone's in costumes. And Peter's like, all right, guys, enough of this partying. You're getting initiated. And the only way that's happening is at this manor. Okay.
Yeah.
So they all go on a walk, and our main players are Peter, a guy in a pirate costume named Scott, who I found insufferable for most of this movie, and May. There are a lot of other characters, but these are the ones that are on the outside of the manor that are the leaders. And then inside of the manor, we have our core of 4, which is Linda Blair, etc.
Yes.
Okay. So as they're walking up to this big-ass house, it is called the Garth Manor. And Peter is telling the story of this family that lived in the manor, the Garths, I would imagine. One of the members of the family murders everyone in the house because of his. This is very sad, and
Yeah.
I am not going to quote what they call the children and how they describe them.
Oh yeah, each one they just say something worse and worse.
Horrible. These kids had some kind of physical. I don't know if disability is appropriate, but they had some physical ailments, let's say. I don't know what the proper terminology is for it because they don't clearly explain what is wrong with anyone.
No, and what they call them. Actually, there was one I wanted to look up, but I forgot, and we're not even going to get into it today.
Yeah, like let's just say they're referring to them as like creatures.
I think they actually call one of the things they say is like mongoloid.
Yeah, which is
I was like
it's
mongoloid.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't actually know what is wrong or what happened to these kids, except that they were all apparently murdered.
Yeah.
And then the person that killed them all then killed himself.
Yes, which is interesting because we just covered Night of the Demons, and it's similar lore. It's always the same urban legend.
Absolutely.
Of like this person lost it, and then they killed everyone, and then themselves, and now the house is haunted.
That's exactly right. So, and the whole idea behind it is our 4 pledges have to stay in the Garth Manor overnight.
Yes.
They are also being locked in. So when they approach the manor, okay, this was wild to me. This is
Yes.
like totally the 80s. There's a huge chain and a lock on the gate. Peter pulls out a gun and just like in close range shoots it open.
Yeah. It was so unnecessary.
It was so over the top.
And
I was
then
like,
doesn't he tell them like, oh yeah, this is how you open it?
yeah, like he was so nonchalant about it. And basically, like, nobody has been inside the Garth Manor is what he's trying to say. Like, nobody's been in here. No one can, it's scary, blah, 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 but you guys have to stay the night.
There's no key. I'm going to shoot it open.
And then I'm going to lock you guys in.
Yes.
Essentially.
There's no electricity. There's no running water. There are no phones.
Nothing. Yeah. You're secluded and you're stuck here. So our core 4 are like, all right, we got this. We're going to go. Right off the hop, Marty, you can tell she doesn't really want to be there.
No, she's not really into it.
She's not so into it. And really, neither is Jeff. Mm-hmm. Jeff's not really that into it either.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of, you can just tell they're a little bit apprehensive. Mm-hmm. Whereas Seth and Denise are ready to party.
Yeah.
So they walk into the manor, and the first thing I want to say is there are candles lit all over the house.
Already,
which I would imagine was Peter and his friends set it up, but
I think it has to be.
It has to
but
be.
also, why did you shoot the gate to unlock it and then tell people like no one's ever been in here if this is already set up?
yeah, I agree with you.
But no one seems to question it, so
No one's questioning it, and I do think it's them because, well, we'll explain as it goes on.
Yeah.
So right away, Denise, she looks at Seth and is like, I've got Quaaludes
Yes.
and Jack Daniels.
I popped for that. I was like, Quaaludes.
Quaaludes.
I think I said it out loud.
I did too.
Quaaludes.
I did the same thing. I was like, we are in the 80s.
Yes.
Also, taking Quaaludes in a like haunted manner does not sound fun at all.
I know that was a thing back in the day where people would take them on purpose too.
I don't even think I would take an edible
No.
in Garth Manor.
No, like you are in a potentially haunted situation or at least like a scary situation.
There's no way.
No.
Horrible.
I want my full wits about me. I wouldn't even
Yes.
take a drink, I don't think. Maybe like one to take the edge off. But other than that, I want to be coherent.
I would be paranoid for
Yes.
sure. Every sound, I'd be like, yeah. Well, not Denise. Denise and Seth are ready to party, and they go off, and they're like, let's have a good time. And they go into another room. Jeff and Marty pair up, and they kind of just take a look around. They're looking around the estate. They're looking around the manor, and they decide on a room.
Yes.
They're going to stay together.
Yeah, and there are 2 beds in this room. 2 like not even twin. Like what is lower than a twin?
Like a single.
I guess like 2 single beds.
Yeah.
It reminded me of whenever you hear, have you ever heard like the old expression like, "Oh, tonight we're going to push the beds together?"
You know what? I've actually done that before.
You've pushed beds together?
Yeah, when
like
I was
2 single beds.
When I went to camp, it wasn't actually like a real camp. It was like with my school. I don't know. Anyway, me and my best friend pushed the bunk beds together so that we would have one big bunk bed.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
usually it's used as a reference to sex.
Oh,
That's what I was like,
is-
oh, you have?
That is not what me and my 10-year-old best friend
Because
were
I
doing.
think back in the day, married couples would sleep in separate beds, like in the same room.
Oh, yeah.
Single beds with
Right.
like the nightstand in the middle, and that's why they'd be like, tonight, let's push the beds
Oh,
together.
let's get freaky.
So yes, they did not push the beds together, but when Linda Blair lays on her bed, Jeff goes and like sits down at the edge of her bed, and she's like, wrong bed.
I love it. And
was
you know
like-
what? Jeff was respectful.
He was.
I actually really liked Jeff's
Yeah,
character. I
me
liked
too.
it. Yeah.
And I like the scene where they're getting to know each other.
Me too.
It's a lot of, they have a lot of rapport building. It was really sweet.
I loved it. And I liked that Marty was pretty judgy of Jeff at first because she realizes pretty quickly that Jeff comes from money.
Yes.
That he has like a wealthy family.
Yeah.
But he's quick to sort of be like, because they're kind of exchanging, like, why are you here? Why are you here? Blah, blah, blah. And Marty at first is like, I don't know why I'm doing it. Like, she's not really being honest about it.
Yeah.
And Jeff's like, well, I'm doing it because, like, my dad wants, because I have to.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And which then Marty starts to open up and kind of says, like, well, it comes out eventually, but essentially she's there because the sorority agreed to let her in if she does their like notes and stuff for school, and she'll have access to like a car. And I
Yes.
think like, I don't know, did she say like a washing machine and stuff? I don't know. Basically, she
Yeah.
has access to things that she wouldn't if she wasn't in the sorority.
Right. So she's doing it for that specific reason, for an exchange of resources and like to be allowed in, I guess.
That's right. And
Yeah.
I think Jeff says to her like, I don't think Jeff like likes that, but there's a great line Marty says to him. She says, "The rich capitalist feeds the life of the downtrodden poor." Mm-hmm. And Jeff was like, "Oh, are you into I see you're into politics." And she's like, "I'm not actually."
Yeah.
You know, it was just like a really good exchange.
I like the exchange because you get some depth with the characters. And
Yeah.
also it's like, oh, Marty isn't just like this vapid sorority girl who just wants to party. She's intelligent. Like
yeah. And Jeff isn't just looking to get in her pants. Like, he's an actual person. I
Yeah.
mean, we talk about this all the time, but like when characters are more than just kind of like one note and
Yeah.
you get to know them better, I just love that. And I thought they had great chemistry.
Yeah.
So as this is going on, Peter, Scott, and May are outside, and they've set up like they're setting up Halloween like tricks and stuff because they're trying to scare
Yeah.
our pledges,
Yes.
right? It's a really cool like. It's hard to put this into words, but the manor itself kind of reminds me of The Shining. It's like a maze almost, and there's lots of like tall green like walls. There's huge cement walls. The gate to go into the manor is like spiked. It's just really, really cool, and it's dark.
Yeah. This whole movie is very dark.
It's dark, and it really is unsettling. And you don't know what's coming out from each corner.
Yeah.
So our pledges are inside, and Seth and Denise are like fooling around a little bit. They're getting to know each other, and it's also very important that Marty does bring up that her dad's a mechanic, and she's been messing around she's messed around with cars her whole life.
Yeah. She mentioned something about like, yeah, I changed whatever it was. I don't know cars either.
Like a tire or like something.
Whatever it was. And Jeff was very impressed by this.
He was. It like perked his interest. He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, a girl knows how to repair a car."
Legit.
Like, anyway, and then as they're getting to know each other, as Seth and Denise are kind of fooling around and having a good time, Peter, Scott, and I believe her name is May are outside, and they're planting like tricks and Halloween stuff and things to scare our group.
Yes.
And it's really cool. The manor itself looks amazing. It's really dark. There's It looks like The Shining, like the maze from The Shining.
The maze, I think, is what does it, really.
Yeah. It's a really cool atmosphere. And I love the gate that, like the fencing that goes around the building is like spiked. It's just really cool. Visually, it's really cool. And Scott is like way too excited to be scaring them, by the way. He's just...
He is. And even Peter does mention something about that. He's like, you're enjoying this too much.
Yeah, like, take it easy, Scott.
Yeah.
And even at one point, he says something at the beginning of the movie. I can't remember the line exactly, but I just remember rolling my eyes like really hard. And so as they're doing that, we cut back to like Seth and Denise who are having a good time. And I had to write down this quote.
Yeah.
They're about to, I guess, get freaky. I don't know. And Denise is kind of like, can we just like slow down for a second? Can I like get to know you?
I think she says like, all you want to do is screw.
Yes. And he says, I surf, drink, and screw.
Okay.
And he's so excited about it.
Yeah.
So I immediately was like, oh my God, this guy, I mean, number one, he's going to die right away. But number two, like, he's just an idiot.
But also, like, this is your game. This is your riz. To be like, I surf, I drink, and I screw.
I know, so true. And like, to play devil's advocate, he is like laughing and like being silly, and she's laughing and being silly, and they are on Quaaludes. At least she is. I don't know if he is. But he gets on top of her, and he like is, because she wants to hear about surfing, he gets on top of her, and he's like pretending to surf. And to be honest, like, it is kind of like a fun, playful scene.
Yeah.
I just didn't think there was going to be much to Seth.
No.
I'm like, oh, this guy's as dumb as a box of rocks, is what I was thinking.
Yeah. And also, Denise keeps calling him Wes.
Oh my God, that was popping me, man.
And he's like, my name is Seth.
Yeah, he says it so, he's like, my name's Seth. And she does it multiple times, which like, I guarantee she's just with him.
At that point, yes.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know.
I don't know. She's also on Quaaludes, so maybe not. I don't know. So they hear screaming. Seth, Jeff, and I don't know if Denise goes with them, but they run out. And it's so funny because Seth like straight up just says like, Jeff, don't you have your gun? And like Jeff does have a gun.
Yeah.
Which is like,
they just have guns.
everybody has a gun, I guess. I mean,
I would also want to have a gun with me if I was going to stay overnight in a creepy place like that.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. You want a little protection.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as this is happening, Marty's alone in the room, and like she hears like some spooky sound, and then she sees like this ghost with like chains hanging off of him, and he's like coming close to her, and it's funny because she's kind of like, oh, this isn't real.
Yeah.
But she's also kind of like,
But then I think she has a moment of like, oh, he's coming for me.
yes. And Jeff comes back in, and you know, she's kind of explaining to him like, you know, they're really messing with us and blah, blah, blah. But there is that moment of like, you know, she's unsure.
Yeah. And they eventually find a speaker.
Yes.
And that's where the screaming is coming from. So they work to dismantle the speaker.
Yes, exactly. Now we're going, because we're going back and forth, right? We're going back to Scott, May, and I don't know where Peter is, but Scott and May are together. Scott calls her a little, by the way. Didn't appreciate that.
Yeah.
This guy, he's such a little.
That was something.
He sucked.
Yeah.
If you watch it, you'll know what we're talking about. He's just annoying. But at this point, we get our first kill. Mm-hmm. May gets dragged into the tunnel, which, by the way, we did forget to mention. The manor sits on top of tunnels.
That is just like Night of the Demons, except it sat on top of like a river.
No, so true.
What the
Similar
hell?
Similar lore. So it is important to note that there are tunnels.
Yes.
May gets we don't really see who it is. It seems kind of like a monster or something. Drags her into a tunnel and breaks her neck. Right? Is that what happens, or does he decapitate
He
her?
beheads her with a cleaver.
Oh,
A little different.
whoa. Okay, poor girl. She loses her head. Gosh darn it. Oh yeah, that's right, because it does show up in a bed later.
Yes.
All right. So we got our first kill. She's dead. May's gone. Scott doesn't know. Peter doesn't know. This happens. They don't see it happen. Okay.
No, and Scott's all like, all right, time for phase 2. physical terror.
Oh my God, he's such a loser.
And once again, Scott is way too excited about this.
Way too excited.
Yeah.
Like, take it easy, Scott.
Yeah.
And my guess is like he's been picked on or something and he thinks that like the world owes him something. That's the impression I get from him, okay?
Let's do a whole deep dive into Scott's background.
Psychology. Like, what was his childhood trauma?
Right.
All right, so Scott is on the roof and he's like working on some kind of I keep calling them scare zones, like it's an amusement park. But like
basically.
Yeah, like some sort of thing to mess with the group. And while he's up there, he gets the monster. We don't know what it is yet, right?
Yeah.
By the way, we don't know yet.
But he gets got.
He gets got. And
I really love how they did this because
this is why I thought that her neck got broken, because doesn't he take Scott's head and turn it all the way around? He does. He definitely does. He definitely.
You can see on my face, I'm like, does he?
You're like, wait, does he? He grabs Scott and he turns his head all the way around.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I actually do remember. I'm not just pretending that I remember.
No, it was
I do
cool.
remember. But what ends up happening to Scott's body?
It's amazing.
It's Scott's body, right?
It is.
Okay. I'm like, am I misremembering?
No, it is.
Because he's working on this contraption that's going to scare them by making it look like some body is hanging.
Yep.
I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but whatever. Like,
no, but that is the concept
we're
of
to
it.
the point, yeah.
Yeah.
Where they basically turn Scott into a scare zone, like you said.
Yeah.
Where it's Scott's real body hanging from the window.
That's right.
And they think it's like, oh, it's just another, he's just trying to scare us.
Yes, exactly. And it's really cool, like how it's all done. It's really cool.
I also love, I have to say, in your notes, you're just like, Denise is chilling on Quaaludes.
I mean, she is. She's in like this really hot lingerie, and she's chilling on Quaaludes.
Yeah. And Peter's the one that finds Scott's body like this.
He does.
And
yes.
so the way he does, that's what it was. He starts pulling up this what he thinks is a
dummy.
Is a dummy. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
He thinks it's a dummy that Scott set up, and he's like, "Wait, where's Scott? I don't know." He starts pulling up the dummy, and then he realizes it's Scott's actual body.
That's right. Yes, and it was a really cool visual.
Yeah,
it was a really, really cool visual. And I really love, like, it's confusing. Like, I want to say, like, the manor grounds are confusing. I think that's very deliberate. It's supposed to be like you don't really know where you are. There's a lot of like twists and turns, and it's so dark that it is confusing. So I understand why, like, Peter's really, like, he doesn't know where May is, but he's not really worried about it.
Yeah, because she could be in a number of places. This place is huge.
That's right. And he's like calling out for Scott. And he is kind of like, where is Scott? Like, what is he doing? Okay, well, maybe he's moved on. No, he's hanging. He's dead.
Nope, he's hanging.
He's
hanging out all right. So then Peter goes to try to unlock the gate, right? Because he just saw that Scott is dead. He's
so he's
out.
like, we got to get out of here. I love that he just like runs to the gate.
Right, that makes sense to me.
Sure, for sure.
Perfect, go unlock the gate.
Yeah.
But he also gets got.
Yes, he gets impaled by, what is it? What is that thing called?
A Sith?
A Sith.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called, a Sith. Correct us if we're wrong,
Wait,
but I think it's a Sith.
What is the difference between a Sith and a sickle?
Maybe it's the same thing,
the
but different.
Sickle is like Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
Wait, hold on. Now I gotta look it up.
We gotta look it up. What is the difference between a Sith and a sickle?
I don't know what this drawing is, but that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, the sickle is more of like the round.
Is that a hand drawing?
Handheld. It looks like a hand drawing. Sickle looks like handheld, more round, and then the Sith looks more like Grim Reaper.
Grim Reaper
is like the I don't even know what to call that shape.
Like a half moon?
Almost a half moon on a pole.
On a pole, yeah.
Okay. You know what? We'll post it in the stories or something.
Yeah, you guys, we'll show you what it looks like.
Wow, I'm learning so much.
Me too. So Peter, in an attempt to get out, is impaled.
With one of those objects.
Yeah, that's right. I don't recall if we can see the monsters yet.
I don't either. I don't think we can fully.
I don't think we fully can, but we can definitely tell that I refer to them as monsters. They are not actually monsters, which we'll find out later, but they look like, I hate to say that, but they look like big, tall, scary looking monsters.
Right.
And it's really dark too, so it's like hard to tell what they look like fully. And now we cut back. Marty and Jeff are still, they're like, it's just so cute. They're just building up a relationship, and they're talking and they're sharing stories, and it's it's really wholesome, and you're getting to know both of them, and you're starting to like them. At least I was.
Yeah.
I liked Jeff.
Same. And then to the opposite effect, we have Seth and Denise, who are now getting freaky.
Oh yeah.
In the other room.
Yes, and like I think this is the shot I'm thinking of, but they do like a silhouette of them.
It's like the shadows. Yeah.
I thought that was so creative.
It was really creative.
It was like it was hot.
Yeah.
Without being like I was gonna say a little kid could watch this, but like without it being too overly
Too
like
graphic.
sexual.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was a cool shot. Oh, this is so crazy. Oh my God, this is so crazy. So they get it on. Seth needs to go to the bathroom, which, by the way, he does, and the toilet flushes. So obviously Peter's full of shit. They have running water. But Seth goes to the bathroom. He flushes the toilet, and as this is happening, now don't forget, Denise is on Quaaludes.
Yeah.
So she ain't fully with it.
No, I don't know how long they last, but we'll just, I'm assuming that she's still on something.
I would think it lasts for a few hours. I mean, an edible lasts quite a few hours. So anyways, she's hanging in bed, and one of the monsters starts climbing up on her. Dude, climbing up on her. It creeped me out.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't really know. She doesn't know. Like, you know what I mean?
No.
She's not really.
She's just thinking it's Seth coming back into bed.
Oh,
Terrifying.
my God. Gets her throat slit.
Yeah.
Ugh, I felt bad. I liked Denise. You know what I mean? She was having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they're in the monster's house, so I guess
Yeah.
I'd be kind of pissed too.
And then, so I remember earlier you mentioned that May's head gets found in a bed. Is it not Denise's head?
No, it's May's head.
It is May's head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Seth.
I think at the time I thought it was Denise.
I did too, and the only reason I could distinguish it is because Marty kept saying we need to find Denise.
Okay.
And
After that. Okay.
So Seth goes back into bed, and this was very similar to, it made me think of Dolls when the asshole father goes back to his wife, and it's like a dead body, Rosemary, yeah. Yeah, he climbs back into bed. I think he kind of like feels around, and then he pulls the sheet back.
Yes.
And it's May's head.
Yeah.
Because remember, May was decapitated earlier.
Yeah.
Seth obviously freaks out about this.
Naturally.
Right? And I will say, like, Jeff, pretty good in a crisis. Mm-hmm. He handles himself really well.
Yeah. He's ready to throw down.
He takes charge. Mm-hmm. He's like, okay, we got to get out of here.
He's a boss.
He is. He's like, we got to get out of here. And there's just, oh my God, there's like so many things about this that I loved. I loved that they all started working together.
Yeah.
Seth, I was really expecting Seth to be just like a complete dolt, and he actually ends up being really likable.
Yeah. He comes through.
He does.
Eventually.
So they run to the gate. Mm-hmm. Very smart. But they're unable to get out, right? Because they don't have the keys. So because they don't have the keys, they're like, how the hell are we going to do this? Seth volunteers. He's like, I will climb over the gate and I will go get us help.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, I loved this scene.
Yeah.
Because how many times in movies are they just like, yeah, I'll just go do this and take care of it, and they don't let you sit with what is actually happening.
Yeah.
Seth has to climb over a very spiky, dangerous, like iron fence.
A very tall fence. A fence that Peter, I believe it was, in the beginning actually talked about how dangerous that fence was and how he would like impale his balls or something if he were to climb it.
100%. I loved it. I loved the tie-in.
Yeah, and so I was waiting for him to impale his balls. That's what I thought was going to happen.
It did seem like that because he was like I thought the same thing was going to happen.
He kind of gets stabbed a little bit in the shoulder.
Yeah. It like kind of like scratches him.
And the scene takes a minute, so you really think something's going to happen to him.
It was drawn out.
Yeah, but he does make it.
He makes it over.
One thing I thought was funny about this scene is, so he makes it over and then he's like, pass me my boots. So he like took off his boots or something to climb it.
I think to get like better grip. I don't know.
But in this scene, when you look, there's a giant gap between the fence and the floor. They could have literally slid the boots underneath the fence. He might have
didn't
been able to
notice.
fit, actually.
Oh my God, I did not
There's
notice
a
that.
giant gap. I was like, what the hell?
Guys, I don't
But
know.
either way.
Either way. So another thing that surprised me about this movie is I didn't expect to change location. I just assumed we were going to be at this manor the whole movie.
Right.
No. Not our boy Seth.
No.
Seth gets in the car and takes off. As that's happening, or right before it does, Jeff is like, I need to stay because Marty's freaking out because she can't find Denise. And Jeff is like, I'm going to find her.
Yeah.
And Marty's like, I'm going to go with you. I was like, okay, Jeff.
Yeah.
You know, like you're actually trying to help the situation. Same with Seth.
Yeah, he actually
Really
goes to the
impressed.
police station. Can we talk about the police station?
Okay, we need to talk about the police station. Before we do, there was a really cute scene between Marty and Jeff. They go into a room and they're kind of like debating whether or not, like, they're trying to figure out what to do. And they're kind of like, well, let's just hold up until Seth comes back.
Yeah.
But then Jeff's like, I need to go find Denise. And I remember there was just one little line where Marty's like, I don't want you to leave me alone in here.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
Jeff like kind of hugs her, and it's not sexual. It's just pure like human connection.
It feels real.
It does feel real.
And you're like, also, I would not want to be left alone in there.
Yes. I don't know. I just really appreciated it. I loved it. I thought, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Then, I also need to point out that Marty and Jeff, while they're like looking around, they do find Peter's body.
Yes.
He's, wait, am I jumping ahead? Sorry. No, they find Scott's body.
Oh,
They-
that's what I was thinking when you said Peter. I was thinking Scott.
They hear like a tapping,
Yeah.
like the Raven tapping on my, what is it, on my something door? And it's really cool because you don't know I mean, I think we kind of know.
Yeah.
But they don't know. And they're like walking. And through the window, they see Scott's body.
Yeah. There's like a build up to it.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
I went, that's how you find a body.
Yeah, that's how you find a body.
That's it. Okay, yeah. And so now we're going into town with Seth. And now, forgive me, the order of events, I may not be 100% on this. However, this is all happening sort of at once. Seth is like frantically driving around town
Yeah.
and he's trying to find help. And so we're kind of cutting back and forth. We're cutting back to Seth looking for help, and then we've got Jeff and Marty. At one point, Jeff has a pitchfork. I thought that was very brave of him, you know. And I also thought, I want to say somewhere around here, they find Peter's body outside. What they don't find are the keys.
Yes. He was holding them, right?
He was holding them, his
Yeah.
rigor mortis hands.
And which would make sense that you'd be so frazzled you wouldn't really notice a detail like that.
Totally. But they do grab the flashlight.
Yeah.
So they at least have that.
Yeah.
And so then they're like, okay, let's keep looking, essentially. We flash back over to Seth, who has made it to the police station. And
These police officers.
the rage I felt.
Yeah. Because they don't give a.
They're so useless.
They're like, it's Halloween. You're playing a prank. Get out of my face.
Like, this kid is clearly really upset.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's pretty obvious that they're stupid because they leave an entire table full of guns and ammunition unsupervised in an unlocked room with an open window.
Yeah. Which Seth immediately takes advantage of.
I was cheering Seth on. I was like, okay, Seth, all right, we're not going to take no for an answer.
Yeah.
I'm going to help my friends.
Yeah. And he just steals guns and ammo from a police station and is like, bye.
So yeah, so Seth doesn't take no for an answer. He sneaks into this room, grabs guns, grabs ammunition, and jumps out the window.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was great. And then we cut to Jeff and Marty. and they've kind of hunkered down in one of the bedrooms. They can't find Denise.
Yes.
And they're kind of having a conversation about, let's just wait it out. Mm-hmm. When I first watched this movie, I couldn't tell if my eyes were playing tricks on me.
Yes. I love stuff like this in movies. Even today, this is stuff I actually find scary. When something is happening in the background and they don't draw attention to it. So you have to be paying attention.
Yes.
Because there's no music that alludes to this, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
But there's Marty and Jeff in the foreground, and then in the background, you see something start to rise behind them.
It's so...
I was just about to say the same thing.
Dude, it's so creepy. It's so creepy, and it's so slow.
Yes.
It just starts slowly, and then you can really tell that there is something there.
And it looks like maybe it has a sheet over it because this is an old haunted house, which I don't know what the sheets were back in the day, but you always see that in movies where, like, if it's an abandoned home but there's furniture in it, there's sheets over it.
There's sheets like covering it. I think
like
I
dust
thought it
covers?
was like the rug.
Oh, a rug? I just assumed it was a sheet, like how old furniture has sheets over it.
The reason I think it's a rug is because it's covering a trap door.
Oh, okay.
But you know what? After, like, I also understand why it looks like a sheet, because it does. When it does look like a sheet.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe there are just like random ass sheets.
Either way,
Whoa.
it's so creepy.
So this monster comes out, and thank God for Jeff, man.
For real.
Jeff takes that pitchfork that he had and like hauls off into this guy.
Yeah, for a second I was like, wait, is anyone else left alive? Because I'm thinking it's going to be like a swerve.
Right.
That he just stabbed, like Scott, for example. We know Scott's already dead, but
I see what you mean.
I was
Yeah.
thinking like, wait, who else is alive? But
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is.
So he stabs the guy, and then he goes to lift up the sheet/carpet, and the monster has fallen down the trap into the tunnel.
So you just see stairs. And then they go down the stairs.
Okay, number one, you could not pay me.
No.
You could not pay me to go into any tunnels.
No.
Like the tunnels underneath, like France, you can go into those tunnels. Not a chance in
Like
hell.
catacombs?
Yes.
Oh, no.
There's no way.
No.
No, I'm not. I don't mess with that. Imagine walking through tunnels without having any navigation.
Absolutely not.
No way. I don't care who's in that tunnel.
You just stabbed something wearing a rug/sheet, and now it's disappeared, and now you're going to go find out what it was. I don't want to know.
I don't
want
wanna
to get
know.
away.
No, I'm with you 100%.
But then another part of me is like, well, they already knew at this point they couldn't escape, right? So
they did, and Jeff makes a good point. Jeff's like, either I go down there and I kill this monster, or it's gonna come and kill us.
right. So once again, a boss. You know what? Very attractive.
Oh my God.
I will say.
I went, Jeff.
Okay, Jeff.
Jeff.
Okay, protector.
And then Marty goes, well, you're not going alone. Marty.
Bad bitch.
We love them. I think they're a power couple.
They are now.
They are, for real. And so they're kind of going through these tunnels, and we eventually are like going through the tunnels, and we discover, I think in my notes I wrote, a dead dinner party.
Yes. Okay, this reminded me of Texas Chainsaw.
Me too.
Yes.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
love scenes like this. I love when you stumble upon the lore of a house or something. Oh my gosh. I love it.
I love it too.
And so you see like a skeleton sitting at this table with a cobweb on it. You see like a more decayed body, or not more decayed than a skeleton, but
Yeah.
you see a decaying body.
Yeah.
Like different levels of decomposition. And then you see, who was it? It had to have been Denise.
Yeah,
Right?
Denise.
Sitting
yeah.
at the table.
Yes.
So different dead people sitting at this dinner table.
I mean, I love it. I think in the notes I wrote, the monster seems to enjoy hosting,
Correct.
which I think was really cool. And then obviously they're like, whoa, we need to get out of here. And then you see the POV of the monster chasing after them.
Yes.
Very Evil Dead.
Yep.
Very like we just saw Night of the Demons, right? We just covered it. Very similar.
Yeah.
Loved it. I thought that was such a cool shot, and I'm so glad they did that. It just like amplified the whole scene and made it really feel crazy.
Yeah.
And chaotic.
Yes, which is very much a contrast to the beginning of the movie. The beginning felt a little slow, but not in a bad way. They're
No, just
building
a
up.
slow burn.
Yeah.
Even though there were kills, I agree.
Yeah.
The third act is really where it
Yeah.
starts to go off the rails.
And you already know I love a slow burn.
Me too. I'm into it as long as it's going somewhere.
Yes. As long as it pays off in the end and it's satisfying, let's go.
1,000,000%. Okay, now we jump back to Seth, my boy Seth. Seth has got weapons, but he doesn't have a car.
Right.
Seth goes, no worries. And he carjacks. He runs up to a car. He points a gun at him, tells the guy to get out. And I thought this was brilliant. The guy's like, oh, I'm going to call the cops on you. And he goes, yes, tell them I'm at Garth Manor.
Yes. He's like, please get them to help.
I thought that was brilliant because obviously the guy is going to go to the cops.
Yeah.
And now the cops will show up.
Yeah.
I went, Seth. The guy that was going on about surfing, drinking, and screwing. I was
Yeah.
not expecting such a big babyface turn.
I was not expecting layers to Seth.
I wasn't. Because sometimes there are those movies where, like, you know, the characters are just there to
Like,
die,
the
essentially.
dumbest characters are the ones that die first.
Right.
The ones that are having sex are the ones that die first.
Right. And I loved that. Not our boy Seth, man. He was determined.
No, he got laid and he was going to save the day. Like, good for him.
I know. I like Seth. By the way, we are joined by Sir Toby. He has come to hang out with us.
Yes, if you watch our YouTube videos, you know, we can't cut as seamlessly as we can for audio only, so you will see random things just appear on the screen like dogs.
Like dogs. Like dogs. So Seth, being the badass friend that he is, he comes back to the manor with his guns. He gets through the gate.
He comes in guns a-blazing.
Oh, he is ready.
Literally.
He is ready. And God bless him, he takes out one of the monsters.
Yes.
Shoots him down.
So this was the point in the movie where I was like, wait, how many are there? I was starting to get very confused.
Me too.
Because he shoots one and you're like, oh, we got him.
And that's why I love this swerve. So he shoots the monster. I don't know why he followed him. I suppose he followed him to the water because he wanted to make sure he was dead.
Yeah.
But the back of my mind, I was going like, Seth, just let it be.
Yeah.
Anyway, he kills the monster. The monster's dead. It's floating in the water. And he runs inside and he's like, Jeff, Marty, I'm here.
I got him.
And it's such a great scene.
Yeah.
And
because
Marty's like slowly coming out and she's like, Seth,
they're like on the balcony or like the upstairs, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
he's downstairs and my heart broke.
Yeah, because he really believes it, and then Marty and Jeff are like, oh, you got him? Awesome.
Yeah.
And then another monster jumps out.
What a great jump scare.
Yeah.
He he jumps out and just like grabs Seth.
Yeah. And then they kind of tumble, the gun gets lost.
And a shot goes off.
You hear a gunshot, and you don't know who shot who shot what.
And Marty is so apprehensive. She's like, should I go down? Shouldn't I go down? And I mean, that monster, he lured her down.
Yeah.
He just stayed nice and quiet.
Yeah.
And then right as she got down, he popped out.
So that's when you're like, okay, you do use logic. So how much of a monster are you?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, are you really a monster? Or
Yeah.
are you one of those children that apparently wasn't killed?
Right.
As I'm assuming is like...
That's kind of what it seems like. And
Yeah.
with the dinner party too, I was picturing like this was their family.
Right,
that
right.
they kind of set up and staged.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the kids hid in the tunnels when the father went off the rails.
Maybe.
Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah, I actually have questions about that. Like, who were the extra monsters?
Yeah,
the
I don't know. I think it was the family. I think it was the kids that the dad, like, it's all just very sad. It's
Yeah.
very tragic.
Either way, it's sad.
Either way, it's sad. But this chase scene was wild.
Yeah.
I will say, I was not anticipating Jeff getting yeeted out the window.
There's something about the 80s and people getting thrown out the window that just go hand in hand.
No, for real. And I loved that Jeff, he just really shows what kind of person he is. He's like, they get to a window and he's like, you go first, I'll be right behind you. And
Yeah.
essentially she starts crawling out and she's crawling up the roof and the monster is right behind him. I think his name is Andrew, the monster.
Yeah.
So Andrew's right behind him and he grabs onto Jeff and Jeff's kind of yelling for Marty, but Marty can't hear him at this point. And the monster throws Jeff out the window. I was legitimately shocked.
Me too. I really thought Jeff was going to make it to the end.
Me too.
And it's not just like a fake, I don't know,
No.
kill scene. It's Jeff actually dies here.
He's dead.
I'm like, damn.
It was really sad. Marty's all alone. You know, you really feel the isolation.
I can't even imagine, first of all, being in a scenario like this.
Yeah.
But also, suddenly you're the only one left. You don't have anyone else to lean on or help you or ugh.
That's our final girl, man.
Like, how bleak.
Yeah. No, for real. It's really scary. And so she's climbing the roof and she's looking for where to go.
Yeah.
Essentially. But eventually she gets to Peter's body.
Yeah.
And she sees that Peter has the keys. His hands are rigor mortis.
Yeah.
Holding on to these keys. She literally has to pry his fingers open.
And she's trying for a minute.
And I don't know. I don't know how fast rigor mortis sets in. Probably not that fast. I don't know. But it's a cool scene.
It is a really cool scene.
Yeah.
I don't know that it sets in that fast because
Right.
it feels like how much time has passed? Like an hour, if even.
Maybe a couple hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
exactly.
Who knows?
But can I also just say the similarities between this like ending scene and the ending scene in Night of the Demon? Mm-hmm. And Night
Similar.
of the Demons. There are so many similarities that it's weird to me that I want to look into it further. Because why do they all end up on the roof? Why does like between Jeff and then Sal in the last movie get yeeted out the window to their death? Like there's so many little similarities there
Yeah.
that it feels too many to be a coincidence almost. I'm like, was there like a format that was purchased?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. I think there is some type of formula to it.
Yeah. Side note, I did look it up, and rigor mortis appears approximately 2 hours after death.
Okay.
In the muscles of the face, progresses to the limbs over the next few hours, completing between hours 6 to 8.
Okay, so I mean,
So-
the fingers could be pretty tight.
I'll accept it.
Yeah. So Marty is, she's got the keys. She's outside the gate. She's in the car. She's driving away. All of a sudden, Andrew's on the top of the roof. And there's the whole, she's screaming and he's hanging on and she's kind of moving the car around and she's trying to get him off and she can't get him off. This badass drives into the gate and impales Andrew through the big spikes of the gate.
Yes. She sees that the gate is now
Like
like
bent.
tilted.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then those spikes are pointed, and she's just like, steps on that gas.
And she impales him. It's so cool. And one of my favorite things about it is we sit on her for a few minutes.
Yeah.
We see the whole night in her eyes, in her face, and there's this like triumphant music playing and it's just her.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Also, they do a callback to earlier in the movie where she mentions that she knows how to work on cars, that her dad was working on a car.
Oh my God, you're right.
Or works on cars.
Yeah.
And that she has that knowledge. Right before she impales him, we forgot to mention, the car won't start.
Right.
And she's like, oh, don't worry, I got it. And she goes under the hood and fixes the car so it starts. So it all came into
It
play.
all tied together.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. That's such a good point. And it is so important because she did mention like I grew up with a mechanic.
Yeah. And it just makes her look like even more of a bad bitch.
No, for real. She's a survivor.
I wish that I knew how to work on cars because
too.
my dad also knew how to work on cars and my brothers do.
Yeah.
But I don't. And I wish
My
I did.
mom does. My mom is really good with cars. I'm not.
I know a few things.
I mean, I can do some basic things.
Yeah, I could change a tire if I had to. I don't want to though.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to.
I really don't want
I got
to.
AAA for that. You know what I mean? Like AAA can handle it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to hear some little facts about the movie?
Absolutely.
Some fun little facts. Okay, this one I thought was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So the actor that plays Jeff, his name is Peter Barton. First of all, he doesn't have a whole bunch of credits because he did stop acting shortly after this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But he is in Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter.
Nice.
He's the guy in the shower.
Okay.
There's a scene in the... You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he gets killed in the shower. He was a really good looking guy, by the way. Peter, you got it going on. Okay. But he tells a few different stories about filming this movie. One is there was kind of a rumor that, the scene where he sort of falls down the stairs? Mm-hmm. There was a rumor, and it's even on IMDb, that he actually got hurt and he
Okay.
had to limp the rest of the movie.
Does IMDb say it's a rumor?
It doesn't. It states it as fact.
Okay.
Now, I saw an interview where he talks about he had to keep a rock in his shoe to remind him to keep limping.
Okay.
So I don't know what the lore is there. I
Yeah.
don't know if. I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Interesting. Or did he get hurt for real, start limping, but then he felt better, But they were like, well, now you have to keep limping.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe for continuity.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I thought that was interesting. Another thing that is like a wild story.
Mm-hmm.
So the actor that plays Jeff, Peter, the other actor that plays the character Peter, his name is Kevin Brophy.
Okay.
Okay. He was in a show called Lucan, which was it was on in the 80s, I think, maybe the 70s, and he was like a kid that was raised by wolves.
Okay.
Okay. The actor that played Jeff, his shoot name is Peter, was in a TV show also from either the 70s or the 80s called The Powers of Matthew Starr.
Okay.
Okay, stick with me on this, guys.
Okay, I'm hanging in there.
Okay, hang in with me. Okay. So, these two actors are both on these kind of obscure TV shows.
Okay.
Now, flash forward to like either the late 90s or the early 2000s. I can't recall exactly. This is a crazy story. There is this man, he has a huge farm, and he passes away.
Okay.
He leaves $5,000 to an animal welfare organization and his entire estate to Peter Barton and Kevin Brophy. He's never met them. He doesn't know them, but he was a huge fan of these two TV shows.
Okay.
He had a scrapbook of Lucan, and he had a bunch of clippings and stuff of The Powers of Matthew Starr.
Okay.
And he left his entire estate to them.
And this was like before they just so happened to do a movie together? Or was
They
it
just so happened to do a movie together. This is way later. They just happened
and then
to be,
later in life they got this
later in
estate.
life they got the estate. And I
Wow.
believe it was a lot of money, like millions of dollars.
If any fans want to leave it, no, I'm just kidding.
Guys, just so
That's
you know.
wild.
No, isn't that crazy? I believe I found, it was on YouTube. I'll link it in the show notes. It was like a little documentary thing on it.
It also makes me kind of sad for some reason because it makes me think that person didn't have any family.
Oh, it broke my heart when I watched
Yeah.
it. It really did. But it also, to be so connected, I do understand that though.
To feel so connected to them as characters. And
Yeah, or just something that
Yeah.
like, you know, you really love so deeply and
Yeah.
you have no one else to leave your money for. And he left for an animal welfare organization.
Yeah.
I thought it was just really cool.
Yeah.
Thought that was really interesting. But yeah, I guess that actor, Jeff Peter Barton, he stopped acting.
After this movie?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I thought that was interesting. Oh, wait, was it Peter Barton? Yes. And then there was another actor in this movie, the guy that's wearing the purple cape. Mm-hmm. I think the character's name is Peter. I think his real name is Kevin Brophy. He kept the cape, and he would wear it every Halloween.
Aw.
Isn't
that's
that cool?
Cute.
Yeah. And Linda Blair, I believe it was Linda Blair, I saw in an interview, she said how much they had a blast filming. Mm-hmm. It was grueling because they were night shoots.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that they all were like, they got along.
Aw,
and
good.
I know, isn't that just makes me happy?
That's probably why her and Jeff had real chemistry, it felt like, because it was probably real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that's so cool.
Yeah, I love that.
And I love Linda Blair. I think she's awesome. I thought the whole cast was great. And Seth,
Came through.
I was not expecting that, man.
Our boy Seth came through.
You really can't judge.
He was not our boy at first, but now we claim him.
I can't help it. I'm a Virgo. I'm judgy. You know what I mean? Like, I really judge people on their
I
actions.
mean, I'm a Scorpio. I feel like we have a really bad reputation of being
a little bit judgy.
judgmental, resting bitch face.
I don't have a resting bitch face. I wish
You
I
don't.
did.
You do not at all.
I know. I have like a come talk to me, strangers.
Please come up to me and tell me your whole life story.
No, for real. And you know what? Honestly, I don't mind because, you know, it's like I like connecting with people. But honestly, once in a blue moon, like when I'm on an airplane, I wish I just had a mean mug.
I'll
just
teach
don't.
you.
Please.
I wish I had a mean mug. The way that you said that.
I wish for Christmas, this is what I want. Anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to get tickets for our watch along if you want to come and hang.
Which, why wouldn't you?
I
Don't you
know.
want to come and have some banter with us?
I'm so excited. Like, I know I keep saying it, but I just can't wait to meet you guys.
For real, I'm so looking forward to it.
Oh,
Cannot
so much
wait.
popcorn. Great movie.
Check out our social media, Chainsaw Girls Pod, right? Did I say that right?
You had it, yeah.
Chainsaw Girls Pod. is our Instagram and our TikTok and our YouTube.
Yep.
And then also our Gmail is
chainsawgirlspod@gmail.com. And please, if you have not, it would really help us if you gave us a 5-star review. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, the bell, all that jazz. You know, the YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, thanks for hanging out with us.
okay,
Okay, bye.